Raw film. Welcome to Conversations with Deborah, a bi-coastal dialogue with my friend Deborah Manning, and I'm Malcolm Berman. And you're hearing this on malcolmpresents.com, which is a new internet streaming platform, which I hope to expand in the near future. But again, go to malcolmpresents.com and under the subtitle Conversations with Deborah, and you'll see us. Welcome, Deborah.
Hey, how are you, Malcolm?
Okay, as I said, okay for men my age.
I understand. I'm Deborah Manning, and I'm a native Californian who decided to move back for economic reasons here to South Carolina. I live in Greenville now. Been here for about 6.5 years. Just frankly couldn't afford California any longer. And I'm here to tell you there is a world outside. And I've learned a lot here in South Carolina, learning to enjoy the little things in life. I know that's a terrible cliche, but you and I have been through some the last couple of weeks, passing of some very, very dear friends, and it makes you examine your life and examine what you want to do with the rest of your life and the rest of your time. And I decided I simply want to enjoy the little things in life, the small pleasures, biscuits in the morning. I enjoy coffee with the cats out on the sunroom.
Just the little things.
It is. No, it's the little things. It reminds me of the play Our Town. Remember where Emily wanted to go back, and she was, as the ghost, wanted to go back to, what was her birthday, and her 8th birthday.
No, right? Yeah, 8th birthday or 16th birthday. I think it was 16th. I don't know.
Yeah, and it was those times of gathering of people and sharing and reminiscing of the times together. And we've been through some very, very tough times since COVID has hit, and it's I think caused a lot of us. We lost I'd say a handful of friends, 3 friends from COVID, and it forced us, obviously, here in South Carolina. We all went on lockdown and what have you. And it also forced us to become more of homebodies, which was good and bad. But I don't know. You're going to a memorial service, I understand, this afternoon. That's why we're on a little bit early.
He passed away a few months ago, and he was cremated. Now they're doing the service and a celebration of his life.
Nice.
And about I forget how long ago, 2-3 months ago, my brother passed away. But he had been sick with Alzheimer, I don't know, Alzheimer or dementia for about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So in a way, I wanted him to live because I think for me, not for him. He had been ready to go because he knew that his mind wasn't there and he was bored.
Yeah.
Because he was laying in bed. I think he forgot how to walk.
Yeah.
So, but it makes you think. It makes you think, not necessarily. I don't know. It's strange because it's sort of like a passage of time, and all of a sudden, I realize that I'm not going to be forever. It makes me more realize that time is, well, not time is precious, but the time is, there's more time that I had in the past than I have in the future. I remember when I was younger, I always said, well, it didn't happen now, it's going to happen next year or 2 years from now or 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking, I don't know whether I have the 10 years. I don't know whether it be physically or mentally.
Well, I know that when my husband, we were together for 33 years, passed, I was a caregiver for 4.5 years of his life. And you look towards what makes life worth living. And it's those relationships. For example, I enjoy our conversations. We may be totally different on, as I say, I'm a former news reporter, and as a former news reporter, I looked at both sides of things. However, politically, I'm more on the conservative side of things. However, I know that you are more of a liberal side of things. And yet the reason that we do this conversation is because that we need to we need to come together. And of all times now, America needs to come together with its national identity, that of equal opportunity and justice. And I know all those cornball things, but I'm a cornball person. That's just the way the way it is. We put our flag up every single day, the front of our cute little bungalow here in Greenville. It's a 1948 bungalow, so it's nothing fancy particularly, but it's home and it's ours. And there's a certain pride to be in this working class neighborhood. And there's all kinds of people here. And I've learned a lot about people who don't necessarily have the kind of education that I have. I have an MBA and I have this and that, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people around here don't necessarily have that, but they have a lot of common sense and a lot of love for country and their family. And I've learned a lot of I've learned to appreciate quite a bit about that. How about you?
Well, I think what we share is not necessarily, political opinions or the way to do things. We're after the same goals for our country, but we are people and we share certain feelings and we certain, we're more or less, I'm, a bit older than you, in fact, a lot older than you, but, we share that same, insight of life and what life means. And you can be happy with little things. I mean, sometimes it's hard.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds trite, but, like how you can appreciate a sunrise or a sunset, or how it is to walk along the shore of the beach and hear the waves crash. And even appreciate a rainy day that you go out and see it pouring.
Yeah.
And you look at the plants or trees.
Yeah.
You see them, gathering the moisture for life. It's an appreciation you get of life. And as we get older, what I notice a lot, when we're younger, a lot of the people who passed away were older, whether it be parents or aunts and uncles or great aunts and uncles or celebrities. But now it seems that people who are passing away are our contemporaries or even younger.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what I'm getting used to now. I'm not getting used to, but I'm sort of coming to that realization. I can't say with positivity, well, in 5-10 years, this is going to happen, or with me. It's not that guaranteed anymore.
Well, it's funny when my husband, Tom, because Tom and I did a radio program with you, Malcolm, called Real Money. And it was a call-in program. Tom was an absolute expert when it came to money management and banking and all of those things. It's just a remarkable man.
Could you bring it back again? I need that advice.
Wouldn't that be? But you know what? It's been very funny. The ghost of Tom, continues to live. I have to say that I am most grateful for the knowledge that he gave me. When I left the news business, I went into the residential loan business, and he helped me tremendously. And it was because of all of the years that I had of that knowledge that we were able to buy this home here in Greenville. We bought it sight unseen, and we did with 3% down because that's basically all that we had left. And I am most grateful for that knowledge and also the appreciation. I was always afraid of numbers and money, and he taught me so many things about how to utilize money in a very common sense way for normal everyday people. And I'm quite the advocate for normal average day people. We have a tremendous amount of power when it comes to utilizing our money, and we can make that decision each and every day, following a budget, making every dollar count. And I know that once again sounds trite, but nonetheless, it's, for example, we spent this morning, we decided to do a daily twice around the Furman Lake walk. And it's resulted us in having, extra energy. We've changed our vitamins, for example. We're having vitamin B and vitamin D because our doctor, whom we also changed, suggested those things. And I said to my doctor, I said, I want to live another 20 years. Are you in for it? And he goes, I'm in for it. I'm in for it. This is what I'm going to suggest you go ahead and do. So I'm looking outside our window. I don't know whether you can hear it, but one dickens of a storm has just come in. And the cool thing about South Carolina is that being a Southern California native, I'm only used to little bits of rain. I mean, you know, Southern California and all of California is in a drought right now. But
Severe
here
drought.
we average anywhere from 70 inches as a low up to 110 inches of rain every single year. And what's remarkable about it is rainwater is so different for the plants than is regular water, dramatically different. So I had a rose bush, and I'm a rose fancier. I love roses, and I had a rose tree that said, "Oh, hold on for just a second. We're just having this is an emergency call here from Greenville Weather. Hold on here. Hold on. What's it saying? This is a code red alert. Okay, hold on here.
Weather alert.
Yeah, weather alert. Thunderstorm warning. A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for our location. Take immediate action for your protection. Yeah, I would say so. Okay.
What is
Yeah, they're saying at this point right now that it's a severe, no kidding. It's probably coming down at the rate, I would say, about 1.5 inches an hour.
Wow.
And we've probably got wind coming in. Let me take a quick double check here.
Could you bring some of that water over here?
I'll tell you, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? It looks like, hold on for just a second here. Yeah, we've got rain, we've got gusts here, and it's happening right now. About 25, 30 miles an hour.
Wow.
We'll be fine. We'll be perfectly fine. We had to, as I say, we live in an area that we have 100-foot oak trees, and we had to unfortunately take down one of the biggest oaks. It was 60 tons of oak tree we had to take down because it was leaning over the back of our home. And some of the deaths that happened here, unfortunately, in South Carolina is from trees that fall over onto homes. So we had to take out that tree, actually took out a total of 3 trees. And we're at this point now safe. Safe.
Hopefully, yeah.
I think so.
Unless you get hit by a lightning bolt.
Well, you know, the other thing that's been interesting is that we have lightning storms here that it looks like it's a strobe. It literally, some of the lightning storms that come through here look like strobe lights. So we'll sit in our back area, which is a screened porch, and we'll sit and observe this. Now we're perfectly safe because everything is inside, what have you. But it's just remarkable seeing the number of lightning strikes that come through. And I mean, you see it on the Weather Channel, but when you have it here in person and the booms and the crashes and all of that, it's like I said, we get weather here.
I mean, like in the summertime, I've always rented a house in Fire Island, you know, like for the summer, and it's magnificent to see a lightning storm on the beach. Yeah. Or the one thing, I was traveling home from Key West. I mean, this is going back 30 years, and I was on the, I think it's a 19-mile bridge. I forget what it connects to the islands. And there's no way of getting off for that 19 miles or 9 miles or whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
And you're like in the middle of the ocean, and there's only 2 lanes, one going south and one going west, one going south and the other going north. And we were going north back to the mainland, and it was like 12 o'clock at night, and there was an electric storm, lightning storm, and the lightning would hit the side rail.
Oh my!
On the bridge. And it would, you know, you see the lightning go all the way up, then it would hit in the middle of the ocean, and you see where you're in the middle of the ocean.
Oh my God. And you realize that lightning strikes, that the actual lightning bolt itself, I didn't realize this, but I just found this out. I was listening to the Weather Channel because, like I said, I'm a weather junkie, is about the circumference, if you're lucky, of a pencil. Isn't that remarkable?
Yeah, and the power it does.
Yeah.
Well, why can't we get that energy of the lightning bolt and put it into some sort of, you know, battery?
Thank you.
For for the electricity.
I do wish that what we could do is go back a little bit on go back on the fossil fuels, and in the meantime, do some tax credits so we can explore some of these things.
Yeah,
Lightning strikes, even for example, the tides coming in and going out. It would seem to me that has got to be able to produce some energy. I guess the issue seems to be the storage of that energy.
well, that's
batteries and what have you.
I mean, that's what dams are, the flow of the, that's where you get the power. But there's something of building the structure that captures that power. That's supposed to be very, I don't know what you call it, but it's supposed to be, very wasteful of power. So I don't know.
Interesting.
It's again, if I knew, I would. I see you looking out the window at the.
Yeah, the lightning. Hold on for just a second. Let me check with Fish. Hey, Fish. Fish. My husband's name is Fish. Michael Fisher. He's an artist.
Is it Fish Fisher or Fish is a nickname for Fisher?
Almost. It was funny because what ended up happening was that when he was a teacher in all these various places, he worked at the University of California at Santa Cruz. Also, here comes Hale. Also, Hale. University of Florida in Tampa. So he's done quite a bit. And it was all theater work and technical work and all of that. And there were a lot of Michaels and Mikes. So he decided to take, because his official name is Michael Fisher, he decided to take the nickname Fish. And when he became an urban abstract artist, he's known as Fish Fisher, and it's fishfootage.com. So if you want to take a look at some of his art, he does pretty well. We're on a website. We've got an international following. And
I'm still waiting for him to overcome his shyness.
Oh, he's not shy. You don't want to have the argument.
Either that or he doesn't like me. He doesn't like our conversations.
Oh my gosh, listen to that. That's wild. I don't know. You probably can't hear it.
You can't hear because you probably have a directional mic. So
I probably do. Oh, that is wild.
Anyway, I want to go back. We were talking about finances.
Yeah.
We segued into it. What's happening with the market?
Market is still limping along. Last week, it did rather well. It went up 6%. This week, it came down, and it's continuing to go on down. Let me take a quick look what the market looks like right now. The worry at this point seems to be, and when you have people like Jamie Dimon saying that that there was an economic hurricane right off the shore, that gets to be that scares investors. So let's take a quick look and see where we are here. Our difficulty at this point now is with the president saying last night during his address that there's really nothing he can do to solve the inflation problem except support the Fed. And the Fed, unfortunately, printed a ton of money. And with that ton of money, unfortunately, it chased too few goods because obviously the supply chains were constricted because of the COVID. And yeah, now the Dow is down 282 points, and it's about 10 minutes to 2 o'clock at this point, down about 0.85%, down to 32,965. NASDAQ is down even more, 300 points, down 2.5%, 12,010. And then the S&P is down about 63 points, 1.5%, down to 4,100. A lot of pessimism right now, and I think most of it is because of the inflation issue. And what a lot of the prognosticators are saying is that as the diesel price continues to go on upwards, and because all of our goods seem to be brought in by long haul truckings and short haul trucking using diesel, the difficulty is going to be it's going to start to be passed on to us. That's one of the things that I've mentioned to many of our viewers here is do yourself a favor and make sure you've got your credit cards in line, the ones with the smallest balances first, and don't pay off all of them at once. Make sure you've got plenty of cash available, because I think when you've got people like JP Morgan's CEO, Jamie Dimon, saying that there's an economic hurricane coming, I'm going to take him seriously. And I want to make sure that my family is protected, as I'm sure you want to make sure your family is protected. So we started to slim down our buying, I'd say about 2 months ago. So
yeah, I don't see how raising the credit, the percentage that
Sorry, that's Max's tail.
I,
My littlest boy's tail. Come on, come over here. Come on.
I don't see how raising the credit rate it helps us. It seems like the more the higher the credit, there's certain things that we need, as far as food, as far as gas, as far as living.
Yeah.
And if it's more expensive to pay off on credit, we're going to be, it's going to be tighter. But we still have to buy it, so we have to, go more into debt. I don't see how this increases the society. It's a benefit society. I would say reduce the credit, let us buy what we want, or have, we could have different scales of credit. In other words, if you're buying food, the credit rate is 1. Credit rate is goes 5-6%, or the mortgage rate. So you buy a house. If you buy a new car over $50,000 or whatever, you pay more for the credit. Why can't they do? Why does everything have to be in solid blocks?
I don't know. And you and I have had this conversation before about Republicans and Democrats. And once again, I want some leadership. I want solutions. And once again, I did not vote for Joe Biden. However, he's my president, and I want him to succeed, because if he succeeds, then we succeed. But when I'm going to the supermarket and having to make decisions on even as simple a thing as chicken, our chicken prices here in South Carolina have nearly doubled, and that's a real concern. So
why do you think that is? You think it has anything to do that they had the chicken virus, and they've killed and they've slaughtered millions upon millions of chickens in the last 6 months? You think that could be a cause of?
I think part of it is, and I think part of it also is this situation with the diesel. The diesel trucks that deliver the goods to us, especially the food goods, we're really going to start to see a dramatic increase. And like I said, here in South Carolina, we're pretty much on the Continental Pipeline, so we get the benefit of a little bit lower prices. We went up, let's see, we're at $4.25 right now. I know you guys are well over $6 per gallon, but I do believe it's
in the bottom, like by 6.15 to 6.20. It goes up every time I open the radio. Listen, it goes up.
But these diesel trucks have got to deliver the goods to us, the food goods. And now when you have these rates going up above $6, which seems to be the case, they're going to start really passing them on to us. And I think that's really what we're starting to see. So there's got to be some solutions, and bless Joe Biden's heart. And I mean that a little jokingly, but I do think that as a president, that he does have an ability. He does have power to be able to change the situation, as the prior administration did. And I do wish at this point that he would utilize that power to be able to help the middle class and the lower classes of this country. I know that the rich could care less. You can see the stock prices of Coach luggage, of Louis Vuitton, and all of those, Tiffany, all of those going on up, although Louis Vuitton bought Tiffany. But you can see all of those going up because the well-off are buying whatever they need. But for the rest of us, and we're really 70% of the economy here in the United States, we need a little help here. And after only a year and a half, holy mackerel, I don't understand why he's not getting the message. And I understand that he's very upset that his message is not getting out. Well, I'm getting his message loud and clear. We used to be able to fill up our tank for about $20. We're now at $48.17 as of yesterday.
The thing is, as far as, again, with my sort of mind that's not really sophisticated in economics, the only thing he could do as far as the gasoline is increase the production of gasoline, which this is an antithesis of what scientists say, what's causing our weather changes or climate changes. Well, I think as far as
you can't slam the door the way he slammed the door. The result is what we're seeing with the inflation.
Well, he didn't slam the door. He sort of like is closing the door, but you have to do something. Talking about long term, what's happening. Well, again, look at the weather that you have. Look at it. You don't have to be a scientist to know that there's climate change. Take a look at listen to the weather report. I don't know if you get the weather report
Of
all
course.
over the world. In India, they're having like 110 degrees temperature. They're stopping schools.
But
People are.
but the problem at this point right now is that if we lose our leadership position, which we are losing our leadership position, because I understand that Joe Biden is going now to Saudi Arabia, whom, what, a year and a half ago, he accused them of being cold-blooded killers. And we're now going to beg Saudi Arabia to give us additional oil. Malcolm, we've got the oil available. All I'm saying is, can't we ease into the situation where we go with alternative energies and explore that rather than using a stick? Let's use a carrot. Let's use tax credits to be able to bring
tax credits for them to change, but we have to change.
I understand
the
that,
principle, and the thing is, people say, well, China's not changing. Well, Russia is not changing. Well, India is not changing. But if they're not changing, they don't come along. There has to be a leadership, as you say. We have to be the leaders. And if we're not the leaders, the world is going to destroy itself. So it really doesn't make a difference how many how many are unemployed and what's inflation. And if a lot of this is caused by the weather change in India, the rise of the changing of prices in India. Their fields are not being reaped or not being harvested because the workers aren't out in the daytime because it's dangerous because of the heat.
And they've decided they're no longer going to be shipping wheat to the United States.
And the lack of water. And how about the war? The Ukraine has been one of the major sources of wheat.
But the simple solution is open up U.S. gas and oil. So we come back into a leadership position so that all of us are not suffering at this point, which we all are, except for the very wealthy and the politically elite.
I don't get the get, but the thing is that, as I say, the president does not have the power of changing the oil prices because that's international.
But he does have the ability to be able to stop this war on oil and gas. He's even asked banks to stop giving oil and gas companies loans. I mean, this is crazy. We were energy independent, Malcolm, and all of a sudden they shut it down, and look what the heck happened.
But if we're energy independent and there's no water in Los Angeles to drink, and right now we're doing they stopped I think the watering of lawns or to 2 days a week.
Yep.
And they tell you cut down on your showers.
Yep.
We're into a major drought. The major reservoirs here are drying up. I think Lake Powell and
Lake Mead,
and they are like 30% of what they should be.
Yep.
And you go all over the country, go all over the world. You go to the Midwest where you're living. The weather. I mean, the hurricane season was supposedly starts in June. It started in January this year.
Yeah, sort of, not really.
A 24/7. Now the hurricane started, there's one in the Gulf, or back east in New York, it's pouring. Or the day, I think it was sometime last week, and I was talking to Maxine, who do the show from New York. One day it was like 92 degrees, 93 degrees. The next day I spoke to her, it was 58.
That's right. We sent that storm up to her.
Right, the swing of weathers, and you look about how many tornadoes have we had?
Yeah.
So good. I mean, the gas prices might be down, but we'll all be dead.
Well, like I said, I think that we need a transition, and to have an administration that says it has no power to be able to change this situation. Well, they created this situation.
I don't think they created a situation. It's not all of a sudden.
How do you say that they didn't create this situation?
The situation might be the raise of gasoline, but again, if the gasoline is raised like $1.50, I mean, it's something, but it's something that we could bear if it's going to make the climate better.
Well, but the problem is it really truly going to be able to make the climate better? I would like to be able to see, once again, I would like to be able to see resources and intellect for alternative energy sources. I'm all in for that. I love it. The problem is at this point right now, when you strangle middle class and lower class with these ridiculous gasoline prices because they cannot pump any more oil, they cannot get natural gas out. I mean, it's really getting serious here, Malcolm.
No, I agree on certain points, but I think that the solution to it is not to increase the gas output. I think is to create the other alternative sources of energy, and which we're trying to do. But every time that we that he has proposed, in Congress to put certain programs through, it hasn't been able to put through. And not that the Democrats have the majority, because it goes through in the House, but the Senate doesn't go through, because the Senate is a thin margin, and it's basically one senator.
Well, keep in mind, one last thought, because it sounds like we've come to the end of our time. The infrastructure bill that was passed, all right, that had Republican support. You realize at this point right now that infrastructure bill is for naught. It means that they cannot go ahead and start to rebuild any of the infrastructure. Why? Because this administration has re-regulated all the different environmental rules and regulations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So none of that money is being used, and it can't be used because at this point right now, the re-regulation. So once again, we're in this frozen state. And I don't know about you, I'm really starting to get as worried as JV Diamond is. I think this economic hurricane is going to really be something.
You're going back as far as getting worried. I'm getting worried about a lot of things. I'm getting worried about the weather changing. I'm getting worried about our planet. I'm getting worried that an 18-year-old could buy an AK-15.
I know.
And go out shooting.
Mm-hmm. And he didn't have any, and he had absolutely no mental health help whatsoever.
I'm not worried about the mental health. We can't monitor, who is going to snap. But what we can monitor is who buys a gun.
I agree with that. And I also agree, though, we can monitor who's going to snap. Those children are giving signals that they are in trouble, and we need to be able to recognize those signals.
But again, I don't want to see, they said, oh, the school should be armed. I dislike that. I dislike the fact that we have to go through to get to some places. We have to go through metal detectors.
All I want to do is to have the schools. Can we have the schools locked? Can we lock the doors, please?
We can lock the doors. That's it.
I think that would be a first step.
And I don't think we should arm the teachers. I mean, that you would have to arm the clerks in supermarkets. I mean, everything. How about in the other day with the hospital? He killed 4 people, and he bought the gun the same day, an hour before. That
flabbergasted me. That really ticked me off, because I, as a gun owner, doggone it, son of a gun, that is not right.
This reminds me of some sort of horror movie that we see, where everyone is walking in the streets armed, and every place you go, you have to be patted down and have a weapons check. To me, there's something wrong. Anyway, with that positive note, be careful with whatever you have. It's not a storm, but be careful.
I will, and my best to you on the memorial service that you're going to.
Thank you much, and send my love to Fish.
I will. Thank you, my dear. Bye-bye.